Hey guys, what's up? Today we're gonna take a look at the best PS3 JRPGs. In my opinion, of course, meaning these are my 10 favorite JRPGs on the system. Alright, let's begin! Number 10. Dragon's Crown. Dragon's Crown is an action RPG from Vanillaware that was heavily influenced by the Dungeons & Dragons beat-em-ups by Capcom. It plays in a 2D layout where players immerse into a classic fantasy and medieval world. The art of this game stands out like crazy. It can be totally stunning for some people or completely grotesque for others. I myself am somewhat of a fan of some character designs, but definitely not all of them. Regardless, it's something that leaves a lot of ground to cover. Music is beautifully composed on certain areas, but since the battle system is a button mashing against hordes of enemies, especially if you play the local co-op mode or online multiplayer mode, you barely pay attention to it in the dungeons. The story is there, but the focus of this RPG are the gameplay mechanics that are meant to exploit the beat-em-up battle system, the role-playing elements such as leveling up, learning skills, and unlocking new areas. And last but not least, enjoying the astonishingly awkward and/or beautiful visual experience. Number 9. Lost Dimension. Every time I get a chance to talk about this game, I feel like I can't contain myself. It's one of the most original and unique strategy RPGs I've ever played. It revolves around a group of characters trapped in a weird tower, where they need to move on by sacrificing one of their own per floor. Turns out you need to decide who is a traitor of the group and who's not by studying their dialogues, responses, and actions during certain segments of the game. Battle system is highly similar to the popular Valkyria Chronicles series, but more oriented to its turn-based nature, with characters being able to move only within limited areas. Graphics are no big deal, but the art and character design are there to make some color stand out inside a claustrophobic environment. All this gives the player a science fiction feeling that is hard to ignore, making them suspect both the plot and the characters at the same time. Music goes from metal to electronic to 80s retro wave style, making the immersion even deeper. Since every playthrough is different depending on your choices, massive replayability is there to make you unlock the true ending. Overall, it's a great game you can't miss and definitely one of the best strategy RPGs on the PS3. Number 8. The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. These two games I've always felt are one and the same, as if they were just one game cut in half, like the Dot Hack series. It was Falcom's attempt to create an entirely new story and cast of characters, but within their previous universe shown in the Trails in the Sky series for the PSP. Lots of references to that little saga, some characters returning and some cameos here and there, but overall a whole new saga of its own that's definitely worth checking out. The first game works as a military school simulator where you get truly acquainted with the characters, the heroes you'll be following throughout 4 games. Unfortunately, only 2 of these have been translated, but localized to the PS Vita and the PS3. The third one might be released on the PS4 soon, but that's a topic for another day. Battle system is turn-based with characters being able to move throughout small layouts in order to execute their attacks, creating many strategic points of view. Very much like the Grande series, as a matter of fact. Music and graphics are full of color and energy that you will end up enjoying them no matter what. Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2 have some of the longest dialogues ever in a JRPG, heavily story-focused, obviously with very strong character development. So if you're into that, Do yourself a favor and give this awesome saga a chance. Number 7. Tales of Graces F. Originally released as an exclusive for the Wii, only in Japan, Tales of Graces was ported some years later to the PS3 as an enhanced version. It now became an exclusive to that system. There's no need to explain what a Tales of game is all about nowadays, considering they're all popular action RPGs, probably among the most famous in the genre. However, there are two things that make Tales of Graces truly stand out above all the others. One, the battle system. It doesn't work out like a button-mashing hack and slash like most Tales of titles. Instead, it's combo-driven, full of technical movements that require the player to strategize in order to make their attacks work efficiently. This makes the game one of the hardest in the series, also quite tricky to get into. It's definitely something you're gonna either hate or love. The second thing that stands out is how the story is told. Sure, it has its stereotypes and its heavily character-driven plot, but what shines through it is the story progression. You start as kids for a long period, then as teens for yet another long period, finally playing as adults. Beautiful story, beautiful graphics, beautiful soundtrack. If you manage to overcome its amazing battle system, you'll be in for one of the most unique Tales of experiences of all time. Number 6. Persona 5. As one of the best Persona games in the series, I couldn't just leave it out of the list. I'm a big fan of it, maybe not that big, but enough to include it on a top 10 for many different reasons. One, it's one of the longest RPGs I've ever played, even without the side quests, even without doing all the exploration. We're talking about a 70+ hours game, far longer than all its predecessors in the Persona series. The atmosphere inside of its very well-written plot goes from something dark to something chilling, that you will forget about daily life the moment you start playing it. This game really transports you inside its own universe and drags you into its various gameplay mechanics, including an amazing turn-based battle system. This one still revolves around summoning the multiple demons you own, also known as personas, as the main character. Your allies have only one persona, but it can also evolve and gain skills as the game progresses. Music is incredibly diverse. You'll be listening to songs that go from blues to jazz and then rock. Graphics are okay, but what stands out is the art design and its beautiful colors matching every scenario's personality. Persona 5 truly is among the best RPGs on the system, but since it gained more terrain on the PS4, it stays on number 6 for the PS3. Number 5. Eternal Sonata. If we're gonna talk about beautiful games, there's no way Eternal Sonata won't try to take the cake. Heavily influenced by the life of Frédéric Chopin, including one of the main characters as the composer himself, and also gameplay mechanics that involve listening to his famous compositions, Eternal Sonata just shouts originality everywhere you go. Its battle system is one of the most unique and addictive I've ever seen in a JRPG. It works out as a turn-based action RPG where you need to manually move your characters towards the enemy in order to execute a button-mashing series of attacks, as you try to build up momentum for the use of your skills. This game can also be played in a local co-op mode, so each player will have their own character to control during battle. Graphics are absolutely stunning, graciously shining through the beautiful artwork the designers orchestrated. Music by Motoi Sakuraba might give you the impression this was made by the Tales of studio, and while Namco did have something to do with this, the game was Tri Crescendo's idea all along. Don't even get me started with its amazingly written story, so let's wrap it up by saying it's a must-play, and also a really hard game, unlike the Xbox 360 version, and one of the best RPGs on the PlayStation 3. Number 4. Tales of Xillia 1 and 2. I put these two games together only so Dragon's Crown could fit in number 10. They're kinda different in some aspects, yeah, but if you think about it, the second is intrinsically connected to the first one, that it just makes a lot of sense to share the same place. Both are equally amazing action RPGs with the absolute best battle system ever in a Tales of game, in my opinion of course. Hack and slashing your way through the enemies never felt more satisfactory in these fast-paced action titles. Like many other Tales of games, it has an extremely well-constructed world and story, also with one of the best character developments that goes to show through both games in the history of RPGs. It also has outstanding graphics and a beautiful scenery to show almost everywhere you go. Major differences between the two are that the first game is far easier than its sequel when it comes to difficulty. Also, in the second game you play as the new protagonist, that's Silent, where you need to make decisions during some of the dialogues. Overall, they're both great titles. One is as good as the other, that it will have been very hard for me to choose which one was the best. Number 3. Valkyria Chronicles. This game is the best strategy RPG on the system. It's remarkably incredible when it comes to its uniqueness and the legacy it created. Grabbing elements from the XCOM series to reinforce its original battle system, with each character having their own personality, skills, and tactical value. Maps are giant and long, but that's perfect considering how fun to play this game is. I love how they were carefully crafted by the developers to create a more interactive experience between allies and enemies. Story is mature, with some perks along the way, but overall an adult plot inside a political and military conflict. All revolving around the powerful Valkyria, hence the name of the game. Its cel-shaded graphics and natural colors are what make this excellent RPG differentiate itself from the rest. Music is totally ad hoc with the game's atmosphere, so it works great. If you're into serious plots and strong character progression, you can't miss this game out. After all, it's still dirt cheap nowadays, and you can almost find it anywhere. Please take advantage of that while you still can and play this gigantic masterpiece of a game. Number 2. Odin Sphere Liefrasir. Now that we're into the masterpiece topic, here's the remake of Odin Sphere, originally released on the PS2. It's another vanillaware game that earned its niche reputation enough to spawn a beautiful remaster on the PS3, PS Vita and PS4. Neither version is inferior to the other, in my opinion, though I've only played this one and the Vita version. But I want to think they're all equally amazing. The original game on the PS2 is one of my absolute favorite RPGs, even with its nerve-wracking battle mechanics that made me rage quit on several occasions. All technical problems were fixed on the remake, turning the game into a much more friendly experience. Although you can still play it in classic mode if you want to suffer through the nightmare that the PS2 version is. I still recommend that one since it's also a masterful legend. This remake, however, is nowhere near as hard as the original version, but that doesn't mean it's bad at all. On the contrary, it's still an enormous adventure full of beautiful 2D graphics, fast-paced action, fantastic music, and a fabulous story told through 5 different and highly interesting characters. Man, if you haven't played either version of this game, you're totally missing out on one of the best action RPGs of all time. Number 1. Nier. Don't tell me you didn't see this coming, considering I'm a huge Nier fan. This is my favorite game on the system, and while Odin Sphere and Valkyria Chronicles drag behind its tail quite closely, I can't ignore the fact that this masterpiece is always ahead of the game. I love dark stories, obscure plots that revolve around psychological and emotional issues, full of plot twists, tragedy and conflict. They focus on the characters themselves more than the overall stories, and that's what makes them so appealing to me. Nier is the exact definition of that, which is the reason why I immediately fell in love with it. Not to say its abrasive battle system is full of speed when it comes to hack and slash. I can't even begin to comprehend how magnanimous the soundtrack is. Yoko Taro and the rest of the development team even went so far as to create a new language for the lyrics. I understand the graphics are kind of a letdown to most people, but I've never really cared about that anyway. I love the world design, some of the puzzles and the overall map. There's also some humor and heavy sexualization here and there to help ease dark themes for a bit, even though the sexualization is intrinsically connected to the dark story. In conclusion, there's no way this game is in my favorite RPG on the system, and one that I will never get tired of recommending. Right guys, as you saw, some of these games are exclusive to the system and some others came out for the other systems as well, or were later ported to newer consoles. But all that they have in common is that they were all released on the PlayStation 3. That's it for this video, thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!